Joffrey, Renly, Robb Stark are all thieves. They'll bend the knee or I'll destroy them.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the second part of our King Ambrose the Second overview stream for the start of his reign. In that first episode we looked at all the northern section of Andalia and all the houses and how they're doing, and as the kingdom is so big now we have unfortunately had to split it into two parts. So today we will be focusing on the rivers and hills of our kingdom as well as the Vale, and then we'll take a little scan around the rest of Westeros. We won't go into as much depth in these areas. We'll just look at the powerful kings or lord paramounts of these areas and any other interesting families from these areas, see how they're doing and what's going on there. So we'll start in the Riverlands. We'll get straight into it, and we're going to start at the Crossfort with the High Lordship of the Crossfort. Let's go on to the High Lordships actually so we can look at these. So in the Crossfort we have House Redguard, of course, one of the very old custom houses, a house that I actually love very much, especially with this name, Lord Elmo of the Crown's Crossing, Lord Elmo Redguard, getting fire and blood vibes there. So yeah, Elmo is only young. He's betrothed to a Lancer, Lyessa Lancer. His guardian is, no idea, Master Clarence of Misselwich. Okay, so not much about him to write home about. We've got Lord Adam, his father, who was of course killed by the Lannister king in the war with the South during Florian's reign. In his treasury he does have Giant Slayer, the lance made by Florian. And the Redguard family has only 4 living members. Now that is a bit of dire situation, isn't it? Let's have a look. So we've got Elmo, who's the lord, his older sister Barbara Redguard, who has a daughter Silver Redguard, so at least she's married sensibly for once, which very rarely happens. And we do have a second branch. Look at this, going all the way back to Davos Redguard. The Redguards are not had a lot of living members, only 30 living members for a house that's been around as long as them. So we've got Jojen here, whose son Torrin did die, but they married to each other, 2 Redguards. Okay, that makes sense. And they had their daughter Sour Redguard. And then we've got Gorse Redguard of Goldgrass, which is landed underneath the Firehands, but we'll have a look at him. Nothing too interesting about him. Hopefully he'll marry. He's only 15 himself, so hopefully they'll make some more Redguard heirs. I didn't realise House Redguard was in such a dire position. Not great to see. Next we'll go into Misselwood, where we have House Rook, a house that has been around for a long time, and we have Lord Edric the White Owl of Misselwood, who is an incredible character. Look at that 28 martial and those incredible traits: attractive, quick, formidable fighter. He is a suspected kinslayer now, though. I think, yeah, didn't he kill his, Sir Yorick Rook in a trial by combat, who was his cousin. He has a son and heir, Sir Nuren Rook, who's not too bad, I suppose. He's in an okay position, married to a Stoke. He has a daughter as well, Lyessa Rook, who is betrothed to a Hardsteel. Oh, no, actually married to a Hardsteel, sorry. He does have 2 sisters and a brother, Sir Errol Rook, who's a poor fighter, fat knight, but he does have very good diplomacy. House Rook has 16 living members out of 35, so a very decent amount of Rooks still left around. Alara Rook, who married to a Greyjoy, interesting. Edric Rook and his sons. Errol Rook and his daughters. And we've got Alwyn Rook. So there is, wow, there's a lot of distant Rooks around, actually, who have all had children. So we've got Will Rook here, Sir Will Rook. Got Hoarfrost Rook. So there are a fair few Rooks around. Let's have a look at these other distant Rooks. So we've got Sir Hoarfrost Rook, who, wow, has some very bad traits there by the looks of it. And then he had a nephew, didn't he, Sir? Oh no, that is Sir Hoarfrost Rook. Okay, so it's quite interlinked by the looks of it on this distant branch of the Rooks. So the Rooks are in a good position, which is good. Over in Northlands, we have House Crownless, with the current Lord Wallace of the Northlands, who's a very competent commander, actually. Very decent marshal. I didn't realise that we had this guy about. Game Master, he's a skilled fighter, has gonorrhea like a lot of Andalia. Wow. 2 sons, 2 daughters. Let's have a look. So he's got Elena Crownless, who does have a daughter, Alain Corbury, to marry to the Corburys. We have Ander Crownless, who is a squire. He's not looking too bad, I suppose, for an 8-year-old. We've got Ufa Crownless, who's, wow, very good learning for a 9-year-old, attractive. And another daughter, Shara Crownless. Let's have a look at the other branches of House Crownless. So he had 2 older sisters who are both dead. Perrin Crownless here. So we've got Harold, Sir Harold Crownless, the Master at Arms of the Northlands. They're all female, so they would have had no males. So this is the only Crownless that we've got here, and she's a Crownless, and her daughter's a Crownless as well. So they have married into the Crownless. Let's have a look at the Master at Arms, the uncle. yeah, nothing really amazing about him. A terrible Master at Arms. But yeah, so House Crownless has 14 living members, so they're fairly secure. 1, 2, 3 males still alive, as well as the current Lord, so 4 males still alive, so they're in a decent position. In Erenford, we have House Erenstar, Mistress Jane of Erenford, who is married to Master Ethan of Erenford. I think that's her cousin, isn't it? Yes, keeping the strong trait there within the Erenstars. She has 4 children. She's got Watermore Erenstar, nothing too impressive about him. We've got Alara Erenstar, nothing overly impressive about her. Durin Erenstar, nothing impressive about him at all, really. And Sarah Erenstar. Named after Tytos' mother, wasn't it? I think she was a Sarah. So, yeah, the Erenstars do have 24 living members because we have the oldest male who is actually the Paramount of the Stormlands. We'll get over to him in a moment. And then Ethan, who is the one married to the current Lady of Erenford. So that takes us out of those lands. We can now go into the High Lordship of Seaguard, where we have House Mud, Lord Guy Mud of House Seaguard, who was a friend of our father. We give him his sword Dirt. He's got pretty decent diplomacy. I believe he is on our council as an advisor. He has 2 sons. Sir Kyle Mud, a knight at 14, very impressive. Okay, he's not too bad. Betrothed to a Wayne Wood, yeah, he's pretty decent. And a son, Clement Mud. Nothing overly impressive about him, really, but never mind. And there's 24 living members of House Mud, so there are some very distant members by the looks of it. You've got Sandor Mud here, Harstin Mud, and Guy Mud, who are all here. One in the Red Fork, one in the Claw, so they've all sort of gone their own ways. We will have a look at those. So Sandor Mud, a commander for House Crab, and then his brothers Sir Harstin Mud, who serves Lord Viperin, and Guy Mud, who is a member of the Night's Watch. Joined the Night's Watch very young. Okay, interesting. And then it spans into a different branch, so the Muds are pretty safe. In Rushmore, we have House Red Wolf. I think we had someone who asked, actually, in the comments if House Red Wolf was still alive, so that does answer your question. We have Lord Harrion of Rushmore, who has a daughter, Sarah Red Wolf. Nothing to write home about with her just yet. She's still very young. You, the last Red Wolf. There's 3 living members of House Red Wolf. 1, 2, and where is the 3rd member? Aha, the Lady of Tumblestone. Okay, so yeah, so House Red Wolf isn't in a great position, but I don't think they ever have been overly strong. This Lord's not too bad. In Seaguard, we of course have House Mallister still going strong with Lord Christopher of Seaguard. Nothing too impressive to write home about him. His son, oh okay, so his son, Ethan Mallister, has joined the Night's Watch, which is interesting. So his new heir, one second, so, his daughter, Lady Tiella of Rushmore, is the wife of Lord Red Wolf. So who is your heir? Your heir is Yoren Goodbrother. Well, we need to do something about that because we don't want the Goodbrothers inheriting. How is he even your heir? What's that all about? Do you literally not... Is there no Mallisters left? There's 13 living members of House Mallister, apparently. So where are all the Mallisters? Wouldn't it pass to the Red Wolf before it passes to a Goodbrother? Why is it going through the sister? You thought it would have gone through his daughter and to the Red Wolves, which we don't want either. But he's got his daughter Beth Mallister here. Why not betroth her off? And there are some other Mallisters here, but yeah, they're in a dire position as well. Then the Mallisters, by the looks of it. In the Cape of Eagles, we have House Reef with Sir Gormond of Cape of Eagles. I'm pretty sure he's the only member of House. Oh no, he does have 2 uncles who are around the same age as him, Otter and Danes. We'll take a look at those. So if we go through his father, we've got Otter Reef, who's very good at intrigue, and Danes Reef, who is a giant. So that's pretty impressive as well. In Marlet Bay, is that House Darkblade that I believe we have down here? Yes, we've got Lord Elwood of Marlet Bay, Lord Darkblade, who's pretty impressive at diplomacy. Can also fight and command. I've got a siege leader there, which is impressive. He does have a son, Joshua Rivers, so a bastard. So his heir is his brother, Sir Ellery Darkblade, who's very good at learning, very impressive. And he has 2 sons, Tristan Darkblade and Lucamore Darkblade. And the Darkblade family tree, there is 8 living members of House Darkblade, so that's pretty good. Elwood has his bastard son, their House Saltcliffe. So this Seaguard really seems to have married into the Iron Islands from that time when the 2 kingdoms were linked, so that's really interesting. And then in Gravesham we have the second branch. Oh no, it's the same member, the same family as the same Fen branch, so we don't need to look into those. Next we'll go into, well, while we're down here, not all of this is our land though, however, so we'll click back on here. We have Lord Tancred of Tumblestone of House Turnbridge, who's okay, nothing too special about him. I think his father was better, wasn't he? And then his son and heir is Sir Danwell Turnbridge, who's also fairly average, I suppose. He has a daughter, Waldra Turnbridge, and there's also a brother, Howard Turnbridge. Turnbridge are quite a newish house, so there's probably not a lot. Oh, no. We have a lot of siblings, it would seem, to the current lord. So he does have Quentin Turnbridge, who's not really that interesting. He has a daughter, Vanessa Turnbridge, so there are a lot of Turnbridges around. Sir Manfred Turnbridge, yet to have any children. And Harris Riffers, the bastard of Turnbridge, who's also, wow, not very impressive at all. How is he so bad? He's insanely bad. He's only got dull, so he's not got like, no, it does give you -2 to everything. In Kennet, I think we've got our branch of House Dondarrion with Lord Boris of Kennet with 19 diplomacy, very impressive. He has 2 daughters, Argella Dondarrion and Banera Dondarrion, both twins. And House Dondarrion has, wow, 52 living members. We won't get into that then. Total members 104. Obviously, we've got the Stormlander branch, which are still going around. And then in Riverrun, we have Lord Garth Goldmark, a more newer character, a powerful member of the bank, and also the current master of coin to Andalia. He has 2 daughters, Masha Goldmark and Alice Goldmark. I'm guessing there's not going to be much else to write home about. No, just those 3 living members, a fairly new lord. Over in Blackwood Vale, we have Lord Lucas the Black of Blackwood, a 19-year-old lord. Nothing too impressive about him at the moment. Who's he married to? He is married to a Turnbridge. I love all these intermarriages between all these houses. So a lot of them seem to make sense as well. That seems like a very sensible one. The High Lord next door, join your houses, powerful, protects you both. Yeah, I like when the marriages make sense like that, rather than some of the really strange ones that you get. So he doesn't have any children, but he does have a brother, Elmar Blackwood, who is very good at intrigue. Considering he doesn't have that many traits, he is very, very good at intrigue. And they have a daughter who's a sister who's a Coldwater, and Lady Andara of Owenshold, oh yes, who is married to our brother, Prince Enger. Oh no, sorry, I forgot to check the Blackwood family tree. How 14 living members. Ah yes, an old house, so it does this, doesn't it, in the game? There's a hell of a lot. Oh no, it's gone really, really weird, the Blackwood family tree, so no idea what's going on there. In Maidstone, we have House Stoke, a fairly minor house. I don't think they've ever really done much in this other than just serve the Blackwoods. So his heir is his grandson, Arthur Stoke, and they have 10 living members, mainly of distant branches. In Blackrush, we have House Byrne with Lady Pera of Blackrush. Her son and heir is Sir Rickard Byrne, who's a pretty decent commander, actually. He's got some decent traits. He has a daughter, Beth Byrne. And is that the only... No, we have... Oh, and then it goes into Blackwood. So there is a link between the Byrnes and the Blackwoods. There's only 4 living members of House Byrne. So he is the last male of House Byrne. Then in Fairmarket, we have Lady Byrne owns that as well. So there's nothing to write home there. Next, we go over into the Blue Fork, where we have Lord Harbert, the Shadow of the Trident. Very, very impressive spy master. It wasn't for our sister Pia or Lord Winton Firehand. This guy would probably be on the council. Really impressive. He has a son, Medgar Dirt. Nothing too impressive about him yet. And a daughter, Tanessa Dirt, who's only just been born. He does have some siblings, Raella Dirt, who is married to the Lord of Turnbridge. Another sister, Zia Dirt, who is married to Sir Eddard Snow, the king's bastard relative. I'm not sure if he's a cousin or what he is. And then we've got Alphamore Dirt. Oh, Alphamore Rivers, who's took his own name of House Groves. I quite like that. That's pretty cool. Okay. And he does have his own daughter of House Groves. I like when you get ones like this who come around. Maybe we can land him underneath his brother. And was that all of them? Oh no, and then we've got Prince Harwood of the Stormlands, Tarth, who's a member of the Night's Watch and a brother to Lord Dirt, apparently, which is interesting. In Stilfen, we have House Blackburn, which isn't a house of any significance. It's a house that we do actually need to rename. So, guys, if you've got anything that you want to rename that to, feel free. And then in the Red Fort, we have House Viper, of course, who were the former High Lords, but were replaced. I can't remember if it was under Enger III or under Florian, where one of them uprised and caused some trouble, so they was replaced with House Dirt. Lord Ronald, nothing too excited about him. I think there is another branch of House Viper, 6 living members apparently. Okay, then the next High Lordship we have Willow Wood, where we have Lord Pyron, the Mad of Willow Wood. God, I still miss Enger. This guy's a bit shit. Decent Marshal, Gonorrhea and a Lunatic, because why not? His son and heir, of course, is Enger Seymour. Wow, 48 now. How time flies in Andalia. Still going strong at the Night's Watch. Still a very decent character. He's also a lunatic with gonorrhea and malnourished. His child, Sir Horsley Seymour, who does serve the king, who's a giant and a pretty decent character. He's got a son, Jeremy Seymour, who has the Andalian shits. Very decent learning. Tristan Seymour, still fairly young, not much to write home about. Serena Seymour, who is a giant, inherited from her father. And Barbara Seymour, who is a clubfoot. And I know the Seymour family does have a lot of branches, so if we do go further back to Pyron, he has many siblings who have branched out. We'll look at the males because the females have already branched out into other families, so we won't go into those. We would have covered those already at some point. But we have Sir Lionel Seymour, who's married to Melinda Anvil and has his son Sir Tyler Seymour, who's married to Athen, who's a decent fighter, and he has a daughter, Algontine Seymour. And then we also have Sir Lionel. Let's go back to... no, that is Pyron the Mad. Then we've got Sir Arnulf Seymour, who is the younger brood of Lord Enger the Planter, who has yet to have any children, and he's married to a Shycross. Over in Chiltern, we have the second branch of House Mallistar, Lord Galbert of Chiltern. So why would he not inherit Sea God? That would make more sense, really. Yet to have any children, so... not a lot there. And then in Wickham we have House Hardsteel. Still love that sigil so much. And he's a genius lord. Lord Igan of Wickham is a genius. Very interesting 10. And he's already got some very impressive traits. He's rowdy, he's a trained fighter, a squire, haughty, and a genius. House Hardsteel has 27 living members, so the family is very secure. His older brother, who was the lord, passed away. Most of them seem to be female, though. Alice Hardsteel. Is there any more male Hardsteels anywhere? We've got Hugh Hardsteel, who is a great uncle to the current lord, who's not too bad, pretty decent. He has a son of his own and a daughter, Alira Hardsteel, who's married to Dondarian, and the brother was Imry Hardsteel, who's okay. Over into High Oak, where we have Lord Kellis of High Oak, whose brother, I believe, is married to our sister. He has one daughter, Urena High Oak, who has a stutter, only 1 year old at the moment, so not much else to write home about. Then she's got her the Lord's brother, Sir Athos High Oak, who's married to our sister Kyra, I believe, yes, and they have a son, Edmund High Oak. I think that's about it for the High Oaks at the moment, because they never seem to have many members. Oh no, we've got Sir Axel High Oak, who is still alive, an uncle, Sir Axel High Oak, 29. He's okay, he's a twin, and he has a child, Danes High Oak. So the High Oaks are pretty secure at the moment. This is probably the most secure they've ever been. And then in Saltpans we have House Mooton with the current Lord Master Moors of Saltpans, still an old god worshipper, which is interesting, and a Northman apparently. He has a sibling, Lord Rickard of Brentbrook. No idea who he is. House Mooton is still strong, level 25 living members, as we do have the ones that live across the bay in Maidenpool, of course. And then in Wickeden, we have House Templeton, who are now back in control. So I think that means we've got 2 branches of House Templeton. Lord Ryman, the Loyal of Wickeden. Nothing too impressive. Cool name, though. He does have 2 sons. His son and heir, Argrave Templeton, who's club-footed but a decent fighter, who does have sons. Harwin Templeton. Nothing to write home about with him, I suppose. And Ryman Templeton, who's still very young. And Jorenna Templeton. We then have the sibling, Harlan Templeton, who is a member of the Night's Watch. He's a lunatic and he's rash. So, and then Lady Mina of Crabshaw, who's married to the Lord Crescent of Crabshaw. House Templeton are fairly secure, 25 living members. Some crazy genetics going on in this family. We've got Tyroshi by the looks of it. We've got Valyrian. We've got Westerosi. So yeah, there's a lot going on there by the looks of it. In Crabshaw, we have House Crescent of the Southern Branch with Lord Harsley of Crabshaw. His son and heir is Desmond Crescent, who is possessed. Interesting. He has 2 daughters, Arthur Crescent and Lysa Crescent, and then a son, Domeric Crescent, who doesn't seem that impressive. And then there is a sibling, Sir Duncan Crescent, who is a skilled fighter, pretty decent. He has a daughter, Sorella Crescent, and then there's one more son, Elric Crescent, and another daughter, Orenna Crescent. Crescent family tree is very secure, of course, within those 2 branches of the family. In 9 stars, we have Sir Medgar of 9 stars, another Templeton who does have diarrhea, and his son is Sir Harwing Templeton. In Darkmoor, we have House Sweetblood, Lord Roger of Darkmoor, who's a decent intrigue character, I suppose. He's got 3 daughters, Tiana Sweetblood, Andara Sweetblood, Melisant Sweetblood, and Willem Sweetblood is his son and heir. He does have 2 sisters, but the Sweetblood line isn't massively secure. At least he's got a couple of sons, though, so at least it's secure through that way. That's it for that High Lordship. Now let's go up to the top of the Vale and work our way down. So in Crow's Baron, we of course have House Steelheart still going round. We have Lady Mora the Mother. Oh no, Lady Mora of the Mother's Embrace. Sorry, I thought that was a nickname for a second then. She's pretty decent. Her son and heir is Leopold Morgoth, which is interesting. So do you have any... No, you don't have any daughters that are Steelheart. So who is the next Steelheart in line? Are there any? There's 8 living members of House Steelheart, apparently, but it's not going to carry on through you. Do we have a male Steelheart anywhere? Doesn't look... Oh, we've got Osric Steelheart here. So there is a Steelheart who can carry on the Steelheart name. Osric Steelheart, who is serving High King Ambrose, and he has a child, Walder Steelheart, as well. So there are some Steelhearts who can inherit that land. In Scorched Vale, we have House Hornbreaker, Lord Benfred of Scorched Vale. Still very young, so not much to write home about him. He has a twin. He has a sister, Willa Hornbreaker, and then another sister, Liara Hornbreaker, and another sister, Elena Lancer. Okay, so married into the Lancers. How is the Hornbreaker family tree? I think there is a Hornbreaker who serves in the King's Court. Recruiter of the Night's Watch, Garibold Hornbreaker, interesting. And then he's got a daughter, Shira Hornbreaker, who's married to a tall tree. And then we've got Sir John Hornbreaker, and I think this is the one who serves at court, isn't it? Yes, he just needs to get wedded off to keep House Hornbreaker a little bit more secure. Over into Coldwater Burn, we have House Coldwater with Lady Admin the Drunkard of Northwold, who was King Florian's dear alcoholic friend. They used to love a drink together. She's 60 now. She's been around for a hell of a long time. Her son and heir is Sir Jorrance Coldwater, who's okay. He has 2 daughters, Lysara Coldwater and Jessamine Coldwater. What is the Coldwater family tree like? There's 11 living members, but there isn't a male heir other than Jorrance, so he needs to produce some sons desperately to stop House Coldwater from dying out. On the Smith's Forge, we have Lord Theobald the Kind of House Anvil, who did serve as Master of Laws for a short while. I like this guy, he's a nice guy. His son and heir is Sir Byam Anvil, who's a skilled fighter and very, very decent. He has a son, Gareth Anvil, who is inbred, of course, because that's the way it works in Andalia. He does have another son, Loris Anvil, who doesn't have a son yet, but there's nothing too impressive about him. He has 2 daughters, Elena Anvil, who's married to a Coldwater, and Alice Anvil, who's married to a Crescent. House Anvil has 27 living members, so we've got Luton Anvil as well here, we've got Roger Anvil, so there's a lot of male Anvils around, so House Anvil is very secure. Out on the Pebble, we've got the Rosbys, the Rosby branch that does descend from Sevenstars. We have Lord Howland of the Pebble, and he has a sibling who is a Brewing. So does that mean you are... There's 33 living members of House Rosby, but for the Rosbys of Andalia, he seems to be the last one. In Midlaw Point, we have House Parron, the current Lord, Lord Robert of Midlaw Point. Nothing too impressive there. He does have a son and heir, Sir Gumford Parron, who is refusing marriage, so that could be risky for House Parron of Andalia. But we do have another Parron here, Robert Parron, and his brother Terence Parron. So there are other Barons of Andalia around at least, and there's a bastard as well. So House Barons, alright. In Sunrise Keep we have House Brightstone with Lord Jason of Sunrise Keep. Nothing too amazing about him. He does have 2 sons though. It's Aaron Brightstone, who's pretty decent, not a bad martial character. He has 2 sons as well, Leopold Brightstone and Wyman Brightstone. Then there is a brother as well, Sir Wyman Brightstone, who also has 2 sons, Jason Brightstone and Artus Brightstone. One has got the flu and one's sickly though, which isn't looking good. But House Brightstone is pretty secure. Oh, and then there is also distant uncles as well, Ned and Domeric. So yeah, Brightstone family is pretty secure. Over onto the Dragon's Den, we have House Shycross with the current Lord Evo of the Dragon's Den. He's very, very good at intrigue. He has a son, Zargana Shycross. God, the Shycrosses in their strange names. He does have siblings as well. I believe that there are other Shycrosses. There's 11 living members. What male living members do we have? Do we have any? Melio, Donico, they're married into the Aaron. So we've got Norris Shycross here, a sword, shield, and commander of the Dragon's Den. Do we have any Shycross branches over here? We've got Zargana. He's dead. He's dead. So yeah, so Norris Shycross is the other distant male heir if anything should happen, and he's married to a green star. He's a formidable fighter though, which is interesting. That's it for that High Lordship. Next we can go over, oh no, we've got Heart's Home. Oh no, we need to go to New Keep, where we have the Vale branch of House Rack, who currently has food poisoning and gonorrhea. Lord Barth Rack, his son is Sir Bartimus Rack, who's a decent fighter, and he has another son, Gawain Rack, who is a genius. Okay, we'll have to keep an eye out for you. Very impressive. We've already seen the House Rack family tree. Where does this one go from the original House Rack? So we can look at the difference. Yeah, there's the main branch of House Rack. This one passed down through Samwile, didn't it? Then Horace. Yeah, passed down through that way. Samwile, who I believe was a friend to King Enger the Second, if I remember rightly. And then in Snakewood, we have House Lingrave. With Lord Ryger of Snakewood, his son, her daughter, Winifred Lingrave. House Lingrave has 8 living members. We've got a Harlan Lingrave here and his son Roose, so the male line is fairly secure. And he's a Greenseer, which is very interesting in the Vale. Very interesting indeed. In Hearthstone, we have House Corbury, of course, with Lady Cynthia of the Fingers. Decent diplomat, decent treasurer. Her heir is Sir Almor Corbury, who... Okay, so she has got sons, though, Orson Corbury. So why is it not your son who's your heir? And you've also got a son, Adrian Corbury. So why is your heir Sir Almor Corbury, whoever he is? That's weird. So the rules have changed. He's a genius, though. House Corbury has 10 living members. We've got Samuel Corbury, who is at the Night's Watch. Yeah, that was your father. I remember him. I remember him well, actually. It was the grandson of Danes, wasn't it? Yeah, Almin was the genius one. So we've got Orson. So, yeah, why does it pass to him? Not sure why he is the heir. They must have different inheritance laws down here. The area, of course, is owned by us, so we don't need to look at that. In Moonsgrey, we have House Greenstar with Lord Osmin of Moonsgrey. Do they still have the Stranger? Yes, they do. His heir is his sister, Janella Greenstar. Greenstars have 11 living members, but by the looks of it, little in the way of male heirs, so they could eventually die out. In Strongsong, we have House Belmore with Lord Osgood the Fat of Strongsong, who is celibate. He's dishonourable. He's fat, because everyone's fat in Andalia. There's plenty of food. His son and heir is Sir Emmond Belmore, who is a 19-year-old skilled fighter who is a bit slow. And he has a daughter, Perrin Belmore, who's his wife, a blue Sevenstar. So House Belmore is fairly secure. Yeah, 17 living members. We've got Alan Belmore is here as well, and Colin Belmore, Ossifer Belmore. So there's a lot of Belmores around, so that's good. Let's have a look at this guy. He's okay. Colin Belmore's not too bad, though. And then in Crown Crag, we have House Brune with Lord Errol of Crown's Crag. And House Brune doesn't look very secure. 5 living members. He does have an uncle, Arthur Brune, who is okay, a good treasurer, who has a son, Benjamin Brune. So there are enough Brunes around should they get a little bit lacking in heirs. In Breakstone, we have Lord Hugh of Breakstone, who is a Royce. Interesting. The son of Roland the Merciless, okay, who is at the Night's Watch. Okay, interesting. He has a son, Waymar Royce, so the Royces have inherited land. We won't look at the Royce family tree here. We'll go and have a look through the main one. And we have Lord Adrian of Eastwold of House Hunter, the blue branch of House Hunter. He has a son, Sir Tristan Hunter, and a grandson, Gawain Hunter. His other son, the uncle of Gawain Hunter, is Lucas Hunter. So the Hunter line is, yeah, pretty secure. Very secure. Plenty of them around. 21 living members of House Hunter. Old Anchor, we have House Clifton with Lord Wallace of Old Anchor. His son is Mark Clifton. There's 18 living members of House Clifton, so plenty of heirs. It seems like most of them are female heirs, though. So there's not actually that many male Cliftons around, but I'm sure there's some around. It's only a minor house anyway. In Iron Oaks, we have House Waynwood with Lord Raymar, the Generous of Iron Oaks. I think, is he our current Master of Law? Yes, he is. I thought he was. He's okay. He's pretty decent. He's got a lot of kids. He's got a son and heir, Sir Osgood Waynwood, who's married to a Belmore. Has another son, Edison Stone, a bastard who is a giant and a skilled fighter, which is interesting. Keep an eye on you. We have Edwin Waynwood. Nothing too interesting about him. Still very young. And then he has several daughters as well. House Waynwood has a total living members 33 living members. We have these. We've got Arlen Waynwood here, who's in the Night's Watch. We've got Alec Waynwood here. He's got sons, Samuel Waynwood, Carl Waynwood. They have kids as well. Alec Waynwood. So Oscar Waynwood is here with Jon Waynwood. So the Waynwoods are very, very, very secure. In Hardvale, we have House Draxler with Lord Emmond the Rash of Hardvale. He has a son and heir, Humphrey Draxler, who is a twin, and nothing too exciting about him. There's 14 living members in House Draxler, but most of those seem to be female. Next up, we have House Redfort. Lord Lucas of Redfort, who I believe usurped his aunt or his sister or something very, very recently. He's only 17 years old. He does have two daughters, though. Mina Redfort and Bera Redfort, who is a sickly child. He has a sibling, Arlen Stone, a bastard brother. So who is the heir to House Redfort? Oh, it's one of the old houses, so it's not going to actually allow us to look properly on that family tree for whatever reason. But I know that we do have Damon Redfort wherever you go back to get to him. I'm not sure. We've got Justin Redfort here and Perrin Redfort, Ossifer Redfort. So God knows where Damon Redfort comes into it, because there is a Damon Redfort, of course, who did serve as Master of Coin at one point. No idea where he comes into the family tree. Maybe way, way, way back. Then in Ruthermont, we of course have House Arryn still kicking around. We've got Lady Mara of Ruthermont and her son Orin Arryn. The Arryn branch is... Okay, so we can actually look at the Arryns, which is interesting, considering we can't look at it all. He might be the last male Arryn, actually, but we've been in this position a few times, and they always seem... Oh, no, we've got Andrew Arryn here, Artis Arryn, Creighton Arryn, and Fiona Arryn. So there are some other Arryns around. The Bloody Gate, we have a Redfort, so we don't need to look into those. Over in Grey Glen, we have House Tollett, still kicking about, still going strong and under the radar. I'm sure Dolorous Edward Love. His son and heir is Maladon Tollett, an ugly squire. Has two daughters, Bella Tollett and Obin Tollett. And they have 6 living members, so yeah, they don't have a hell of a lot of male heirs. Over in Runestone, we of course have Lord Danes, the Warrior of Runestone, an amazing character who's been absolutely incredible throughout the series. His siblings, there is Sir Alec Royce, who is the Treasurer of Dustonbury down in the south. Interesting. Lord Danes Royce does have 2 sons, Arnold Royce, who there's nothing to write home about with him just yet. Oh, he's a twin as well, and Lucas Royce, twin boys. Interesting. Neither of which are anywhere near as impressive as... Oh no. His twin must be his sister then, sorry, who died young, and she was a giant, so she could have been interesting. Looking into House Royce then, I think we have to go back a generation, don't we, to get the Royces of the different... Now we've got Hugh Royce here, the warrior. Yeah, he was the one who... Was he the one who fought against Florian, or was it... No, not Florian, sorry, Enger the Third. I think it was... Danes was rewarded for that. Then we got his cousin, Roland the Merciless, who was sent to the Night's Watch. Yeah, so that's how the cousin inherited it, I remember now, because these are also cousins of Florian as well, if I remember correctly. I'm sure Sir Hugh was married to a Sevenstar. In Ghoultown, we of course have House Grafton still kicking around, Lord Roderick of Ghoultown. decent diplomat. His son and heir is Morton Grafton, who's an okay diplomat, nothing too impressive. He's still young, married to a black man. And then we have Benfrey Grafton, who's still a young boy. House Grafton has a total of 7 living members, so they're fairly secure, but not massively secure really. Only 3 living males. Then over on Witch Isle we have House Upcliffe with Lord Corman of Witch Isle, who's 79. Wow, an old lord. One-handed, scarred, but he is a duelist. Lots of dead children, but when you live to that age, you're going to have that, aren't you? His heir is his grandson, Sir Bowen Upcliffe, who also has a son, Helman Upcliffe. There are a few other Upcliffes here as well. We've got Sir Belvazar Upcliffe and Mark. Oh no, he's a Clifton. So Belvazar Upcliffe. Let's look at the Upcliffe family tree. We've got 12 living members. So we've got Bowen, Howman, Belvazar. Is there any other males here? No, they're female. Oh, and Royce Upcliffe as well. So there's plenty of Upcliffes still around. That's all of the major houses then. So we'll look through the 7 kingdoms. We of course have the Darklings, who are ruling in the rivers and hills. We've only recently covered what's in the rivers and hills, so we don't really need to go into that. We have still got a couple of houses around, like the Rosbys, got the Mooton. Oh no, we've got House Sunglass in Maiden's Pool, which is interesting. I don't think House Darry are still around. I don't think House Bracken are. I believe House Bracken died out a long time ago. I think we've got Rosbys and Darklings now ruling here. Is House Vance still around? Yes, they are. And then we've got some very random houses around in a lot of these other ones. Mainly houses that were from our Darkling series. We have the Crabs over, House Crab over in the Whispers, Lord Paramount Edmund. Who are these now serving? Their liege is Lord... Ah, okay, so there seems to be some sort of dispute going on between these lands. In the Stormlands, we of course have Lord Paramount Erenstar, which is really interesting. His son, Lord Tytos, who is married to our sister Princess Violet. They're yet to have a son. Yeah, Tytos is very impressive, just like his namesake. I think in Tarth we still have House Tarth. Yes, we do. Do we have any of the other major houses still around? We've still got Estamont down here. We still have House Swan around. We do have House Dondarrion, so I don't know where they've gone. We need to put them back, really. We have House Karen still around. Yes, we do. I'm pretty sure a few of the other houses are still around down here as well. I'm pretty sure that House Bar Emmond's still around. Yeah, House Sunglasses, as we know. House Massey is still around as well. I'm pretty sure that we've got a couple of old Andalian houses. We've got a Durandon here as well. Landed in Galement. So it's interesting to see that they're still around. I'm pretty sure we've got some of old Andalian houses, like a Redstone. Yeah, we've got a Lord Redstone in Griffin's Roost, which is interesting. In Dawn, it's obviously ruled by the Danes. I think the Black Monster's still around. Yes, they are. I think a lot of the houses have died out down here. I'm pretty sure House Fowler died out not long back, unfortunately. House Ironwood is still around. We've got House Will still going as well. House Dane own Ironwood now, apparently. Vulture's Roost, we've got the Warrior's Sons. Interesting. But I know there are some Ironwoods around somewhere. There's a couple of branches of them still. Broken Arm's independent at the moment. So is the Elbow, for some reason. Oh, Ironwood there, for some reason. I knew there was Ironwoods around. I think we've still got the Red Winds here. Yep, in the Arbour. Do we still have the High Towers? We do. Do we have any other houses around? Is House Beesbury still here in Honeyholt? No, they're not. I don't know if... we do have the Florence still around, don't we? Who are the current Lord Paramounts, yes. Hornhill, are the Tarleys died out? No, the Tarleys are still there. Still have the Gardeners as well. We have the Fossways, as we've already seen. But we have the Mandleys here, actually, in Dustonbury. But the Fossways are still around, because I remember seeing them inside of... there, the red Fossways, of course, because the green Fossways aren't around now. The High Lordship thing is still the same, but yeah, the green Fossways are not a thing yet. I think we've just got mainly House Grimm up here. Ivy Hall, Red Lake. Have we still got House Crane? Yes, we have. Old Oak. We've still got House Oakhart, which is good. So we still do have some of these houses still around, but not all of the Reach houses are still around, but a good amount. Of course, we've got the Lannisters. We've got King Desmond of the South, very young king. He shouldn't cause us any trouble for some time. Fair Isle, I'm pretty sure were the Farmans Yeah, they lost their lands recently, but they are still around. House Kenning is still going. I'm pretty sure House Rain is still going as well. Yes, I'm sure House Banefort are still here. Yeah, so we've still got a lot of the Lannister bannermen still around. We've got another branch of House Grimm. Yeah, we've got a lot of randomers. I think Crakehall are still here. Yes, they are. Oatright, whoever they are. A Westling house. Still got a Westling branch down here. Another Kenning branch. Who have we got here? Just a randomer. And that was House Grimm, wasn't it? Yeah, so lots of random houses. I remember the Iron Islands. I think most of the Iron Island houses did die out. In Pike, we have the Greyjoys. Lordsport, another branch of House Greyjoy. Over on Saltcliffe, we've got the Saltcliffe still going. Hammerhorn, we've still got House Goodbrother. Pebbleton, House Ironmark. Sealskin Point, we have House Saltsail, a custom house that was part of Andalia. We have House Irontide still going. In Orkmont, just a randomer. Blacktide, we still have House Blacktide going. Volmart, we've still got the Harlaws kicking. Another branch of House Greyjoy. Lordport, and over on this little island of the Lonely Lie, we've got Black Iron, which is an interesting name. So that's all of Westeros. Let's actually have a look what is happening over the Narrow Sea. I don't think it's much. Who is the current Emperor of Valyria? We've got Archon Laena of Valyria of House Vhagar. House Vhagar are still in charge of Valyria. Considering they actually started on a little island, they actually did manage to take over. Does he have the sword? Does he still have the sword? No. They do have a mace, though. But they don't have the sword anymore. I wonder what happened to the sword. That's Valyria. We've got the Painted Mountains as their own thing now, which is interesting. Pentos. We have got some areas of Andalia still... of Andalos, sorry, still going. Yeah, some Faith of the Seven. House Upton. Yeah, some randomers over there, so not a lot to write about there. Were they Faith of the Seven, the current lord? No, they're actually the old gods. The old Valyrian gods. Another Vhagar owns this land over here in Slaver's Bay as well, which is interesting. And yeah, the Far East doesn't exist to us. Let's have a look at the religions. I'm pretty sure a lot of that was Faith of the Seven, wasn't it? Yeah, got R'hllor here, and then we've got huge chunks of Faith of the Seven spreading throughout Valyria. We've still got the gods of Sarnor as well. We've actually still got... I forgot about the Tormented actually still going. Are their kingdoms still pretty strong? Gods of Sarnor, yeah, they're actually still going fairly strong on good old Sarnor. Forgot all about that. But yeah, there we go. That is all of Andalia and Westeros and the known world and what is happening in that overview. We should be back to normal next week, carrying on with the series through King Ambrose the Second of his name. I'm hoping to hopefully get some normal mini-series back out as well, with House of the Dragon going strong. It's got everyone back into Game of Thrones, and I'd like to do some other playthroughs maybe around that time period. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all very soon for the next episode of the Knights of Andalia.